Hey, welcome back to Road Tripping with Rachel. I'm Rachel. Thank you so much for joining me here on my road trips. As I have been going through here the month of October and then the month of November, I've been hitting on more or less some pet projects or things that I actually am very passionate about. I went through the book of Nehemiah and then the book of Ezra this year as part of our Bible study, but here I've been hitting on some really more like soapbox topics that I have, and today we're actually going to be talking about how to pay for college. Now, for those of you who might be new to the channel, I am a former director of admissions for a small private university that's located in northern Missouri, and I've had this conversation with countless students. I was in admissions for just shy of 5 years, and I was a director for about 3 of those 5. And this is a topic that can either make or break the decision for a student to choose A, to just go to college, and then B, what college they're actually going to choose to go to. Now, first off, I am not here to convince you to go to any type of college. I'm not here to convince you to go to junior college or a private college or a state school. Like, that is not the purpose of this here today. Let me close that door. It is to give you some information so that way if you are a parent, you know what you should be harassing your children about. If you are a student, then so you have an idea and an understanding that college is very attainable. Now, let me be clear, not every person should go to college. There are plenty of people who are better suited for a trade. They're wanting to go into the military, or they're wanting to go straight into the workforce itself. But if you are looking to go to college, having an understanding about how you can pay for it and what some of those options are, sorry, my cat is playing with one of his toys, then that is the purposes of this video. So let's go on ahead and just get into it. So, paying for college. The most obvious one that you can do if you are a student is you need to be applying for scholarships. Scholarships are out there. There are millions of dollars of scholarships that don't actually get awarded each year that are out there for the taking. If you are just willing to take the time and dedicate your resources into looking for them and then actually filling out the applications for them. Now, some places that you can go to look for scholarships are going to be asking your school that you're considering where would be some places that they would suggest and what scholarships you are actually eligible for from that institution. So that could be athletics, it could be fine arts, it could be academic. They might have other scholarships that are available maybe specifically to freshmen. There might be scholarships that are for upperclassmen, sophomores, anything like that. You can also check with national scholarships. So a lot of people know of Sallie Mae, mainly because it's associated with student loans, but they actually have a whole lot of scholarships that are out there as well. I'm not paid by Sallie Mae to say that. I just directed a lot of students in that direction. Another place that you'll be able to look is going to be your local scholarships. Now, these are typically smaller scholarships, but because they're local, a lot of the groups have them budgeted in each year, and so they actually do have to give them out. Therefore, if they have a scholarship for the Left-Handed Plumbers Association and you are neither interested in becoming a plumber, but you are left-handed, you might go on ahead and apply for that because they need to be able to give it to somebody. And you might just very well be the only student that applies for it. And then, ta-da, there's $500 that you now don't have to figure out how you're going to pay for. Go for the big ones, but also go for the smaller ones. Those smaller ones add up. 1,000 here, 500 here, 150 here. Those all add up, and at the very least, maybe they'll be able to cover your textbooks. Maybe they'll be able to cover your fees for whatever school you go to. If you get enough of them, it could even possibly cover your housing. Another thing that you can do is get a job. That sounds like it might be kind of tongue-in-cheek, but if you have a job and you are working and you are specifically saving to be able to go to college, then you will be able to actually save quite a bit of money doing that. It is also a little bit of denying thyself. Skip the Starbucks a couple times a week in lieu of making your coffee at home. forego going through McDonald's because we all know McDonald's is getting expensive. Forego a few of those things and you can really get the money you're putting into savings to add up very quickly. Whoop. Another thing that you can do is work through college. So as you are figuring out and budgeting, if you have a job, you should be able to afford going to school. As a part of that, go on ahead and be working while you're in school and make payments. Most schools and universities, they will have some kind of payment plan in place. If you find out what that is, that might be a better option for you. So that way you can pay off each semester and either keep your student loans down, make up any deficit that you have for your scholarships, or it might be a way for you to actually make it through completely debt-free. But that's an option that's out there. Another option you have, and this one is definitely for the parents, is be saving in order for your student to be able to go to college. Now, that being said, the time to start saving for your student to go to college is not their senior year. The time to be saving for your student to go to college is when they are either born or at the very beginning of high school. You should be setting some money away. Now, I am a firm believer that I would say this to parents, is that your student should have some skin in the game. Don't pay for everything. Help them where they need it, but get your student in there and let them earn their education. I have seen for myself the students who have mom and dad pay for everything, they typically don't do quite as well. Just saying, because they know that their butt's covered, so to speak, and that mom and dad is going to cover it for them. They don't have to work as hard for it. Whereas the students that have had to either hold on a job or have had to work to get a lot of scholarships, they tend to appreciate being at college much more, and they're going to work to be able to stay there. Just throwing that out there. Finally, there is student loans. Now, student loans are there for the purpose of being able to help a student pay to be in school. I'm not here to say you should take out student loans. I'm just here to give you a little bit of information about them. Now, this is based off of my experience having worked in admissions. That meant I worked very closely with financial aid. And there are federal loans and there's private loans. Now, if you're talking about federal loans, you have subsidized and unsubsidized. There are different interest rates as well as different rules that you need to be able to read through and understand what you're actually signing your name towards. In order for you to qualify for any sort of federal loans, you do have to file your FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. You do have to use your prior years of mom and dad's taxes in order to qualify for FAFSA. And then there are a bunch of rules and regulations that are based off of the income that family has. To determine what a student might qualify for. Now, the good side of whether you choose to take out student loans or not is that sometimes you might qualify for a grant, sometimes you might qualify for that are at the federal level, and you might also qualify for things that might be at your individual state level. Now, I will say if you were planning on trying to qualify for something at the state level, you do actually have to attend school within your home state. For example, I live in Missouri. We have something that's called Missouri Access. As long as a student remains in the state of Missouri and they qualify for access, they would be able to get it, and it would be applied to whatever school that they choose to go to. If a student were to choose from Missouri were to choose to go out of state, they would forfeit access even if they qualified for it. But if you do choose to take out student loans, just make sure that you know the rules and regulations with them. I also mentioned that there are private loans. Now, private loans do operate differently, whereas with federal loans, subsidized will not be acquiring interest during the time that you are in school, or I should say the government is covering that interest. With an unsubsidized, you are acquiring interest for the life of that loan. You could be paying on them while you are in school in order to keep up with the interest, because interest is really what kills a lot of people. But you can also do a combination of everything that we've talked about in order to just let student loans kind of make up what's missing and then be able to cover what just needs to be covered. The other option that is there within the student loan category is a private loan. Now, private loans do operate differently. I don't know as much about private loans because I personally didn't take them out. I did a combination of working for scholarships, working my way through school, and then taking out some student loans. I actually managed to keep mine pretty minimal, all things considered, for my bachelor's. And then I did have to add some housing expenses on when I worked on my master's. So I am currently still paying on my student loans, but I am very close to having them paid off. And I will say, because I took the federal route and didn't have like insane interest rates, because my stuff all got locked in at the time that I took out my loans, it has been very manageable for me to make those payments, including during COVID. I was still able to make payments, but I was also still working during that time. But if you're thinking about doing private loans, you would have to have a co-signer on those, because if you are a 17 or 18-year-old, you have probably never had any form of debt. Therefore, you have zero credit. Hopefully, mom and dad have a decent credit, or grandma or grandpa, aunt or uncle, whoever might be a co-signer for you. Now, there are various options. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing when it comes to paying for college, but I am saying you need to be thinking about this earlier than your senior year, and you need to understand and know what your options are so you can find the best combination for you. And just so you know, if you are very anti-debt, some people do consider a loan, lien, debt to be four-letter words that are just nasty words. It is possible for you to do the scholarship route and the working route, and that will actually all go towards paying for school. It is possible to pay for your college by doing that route. That's if you want to go. Specifically, we've been talking about if you're wanting to go to a 4-year. Another option that's out there that I haven't talked about yet was if you chose to go to like a junior college. Now, I will say I took this route. I went to junior college, or JUCO as it's referred to in academia, and by doing that, I was able to qualify for some scholarships. I got my years at junior college paid for, and then I only had to worry about really having money to pay for my 2 years at a university. That is an option that makes education highly affordable for a whole lot of people. And getting your associate degree does prove that you are able to learn and be responsible for your own learning without having a bell necessarily there, or teachers who are hounding you to get your work in. It does help you if you just want to go to junior college and enjoy the job market. And it also, in many ways, it takes care of a lot of the classes that you would be paying more money for if you go to a 4-year university. I would highly recommend, though, if you do choose to go through a junior college, make sure you actually get a degree. Because like world history, no matter where you go, college algebra is college algebra, English comp is English comp. The more classes that you have totally covered, the better off you are, because a university, as long as you transfer from an accredited school to another accredited school, accreditation is important. It should just transfer all over. Now, there might be a few courses you might have to take because it's specific to that college. For example, I went to a private Christian university where I finished off my bachelor's. I had like 4 classes I was going to have to take that weren't offered at the junior college level that I needed to cover as my prerequisites. 4 classes, that was it. 12 hours. I got them done. No problem. Easy peasy. And I was able to but that was it. They didn't make me repeat anything. I had everything else covered. So college is manageable. And if you're looking at going to college, these are the conversations you need to be having with your student and students with your parents, so you can figure out what is going to be the best option for you and for your family, and how much help you're going to be able to have from your family. Hopefully you found this helpful. And it also gives you a couple of questions that you can be asking whenever you are in the college search process. But I will see you guys all next time, and don't forget to check out my blog, Road Trippin' with Rachel, RACHAEL, to see all of my thoughts written out where it's a little bit easier to follow along with. All right, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.